On the night of the crash, hundreds of first responders from dozens of agencies rushed to the scene looking to save as many people as possible. Sadly, the rescue turned to recovery. For some, it's a children's luggage and small ice skates that have become the images forever ingrained in their minds. For others, it's the boats navigating debris in shallow waters to bring crash victims ashore. But for all, the magnitude of the night still impacts them today. DC News Now's Mario Carbone spoke to those first on scene.
A cold and clear January day on the Potomac River. The conditions, much like they were 1 year ago, when a military Black Hawk helicopter and an American Airlines commercial plane crashed midair, sending both aircraft and everyone on board into the river.
There's been tough days.
DC Fireboat Captain Michael Puglisi remembers that night clearly. The initial call was for a helicopter crash off DCA runway 33. Minutes later, when he and his team arrived on scene, it was much worse.
We came across victims in the water, and we started to recover victims, and sadly none of those victims were alive. And when I looked out the front of this vessel and I saw the plane and its magnitude, I understood that we were in a severe crash.
The more he learned, the gravity of the situation grew.
I know that when I called back to command and asked how many souls were on board that plane and I got the response, that's when my heart dropped.
64 people on board the plane, 3 on board the helicopter.
This boat has a thermal imaging camera on there.
His first objective was to find and rescue any living victims.
And we pulled that up the night of the incident so that we could look for heat signatures of victims needing rescue.
How quickly do you think you realized that there wasn't anybody living out there?
I think I had that realization a little bit sooner than some of my other firefighters, but we all kept hope alive as long as possible.
That hope drove their every move.
And if there was any chance of finding a person that needed emergency medical care, we gave them everything we had to do that. And once we realized that that was not the case, we gave that same 100% effort to bring their loved ones home.
In the water itself.
But this was definitely something that I'd never encountered before.
Was Officer Robert Varga, a scuba diver with MPD's Harbor Patrol Unit.
In that scene, it was very eerily quiet, and there was also chaos around you. You know, it was, of course, in the middle of a plane crash in the middle of the river. It almost seemed like it was a surreal environment that you talk about could it be a possibility, but you never actually expect to be there.
Varga and other divers were tied to the fuselage of the plane, going in the water at 20-minute increments to avoid hypothermia. He says the conditions were surprisingly clear.
But you could see the plane and the fuselage and things like that.
In the initial aftermath, it was his mission to recover every soul on board, bringing a dignified return to the families. By February 4th, the remains of all 67 victims were recovered, a feat some consider unprecedented given the conditions of the crash.
Yeah, it's incredible, and you know, it's a testament to all of us and to kind of the dedication to the help that we got from outside agencies as well.
In the days and weeks that followed, the mission shifted to recovering any personal items they could find.
Anything that we could get felt like a treasure.
Is there any one item that stood out to you that you were able to recover and connect back to a family?
Yeah, well, one item I did recover was a man's wedding ring, which I think would be pretty, important to have for their family.
They came to help people. And even when it wasn't life safety anymore and it was helping the families recover, they put that same work into it. That's pretty noble.
For DC Fire Chief John Donnelly, the response to the midair collision is a career-defining moment.
What I remember more than anything was the whole Virginia shoreline was lit up with responders, and I sort of turned around and looked both ways on our side, and it was the same thing. And there was a lot of responders there, but there wasn't a lot anybody could do.
The collaboration of roughly 40 agencies, from federal to local, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, police, fire, EMS, and more, is what sticks in his mind.
I think what this story is really the importance of regionalization, the importance of working together.
The most unexpected part.
I ended up having to talk to the families every night for those 6 nights. That's a lot. I didn't expect that, but it does define who you are, and it forms some relationships there.
1 year later, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I have a therapist I talk to about it, but I'm okay. I worry about our folks. We still have some folks that are suffering from it.
I'm doing well.
Both Varga and Puglisi say they are doing okay. What gives them comfort amid the moments of grief is knowing this. They did everything they could to bring those 67 souls home.
We all raised our right hands and swore that the civilian population is more important than we are. And that doesn't stop when a person passes away.
In the district, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.